Welcome to Marifado. Jesus taught that you should love your enemies. In Matthew, he says, love your enemies. Bless them that curse you. Do good to them that hate you. And pray for them which despitefully use you and persecute you. Would you turn the other cheek until your enemy gets tired? Or you do not do that? If you don't do that, you are disobeying an inspired word of God. When we ask one of our eminent scholars, Dr. Hendrik Clark, he said, the meek shall inherit nothing but more chains. Let's think about this very seriously as we tackle this topic. Has Christianity lowered our intelligence? What is intelligence? What are the proofs Christianity has lowered our intelligence? Honestly speaking, when you think of the largest church in the world is the Basilica of Our Lady of Peace in the capital city of Ivory Coast, you think twice about our intelligence. Definition of intelligence. Intelligence is a goal-directed and adaptive behavior, a property of the mind that encompasses many related abilities, such as the capacities to reason, to plan, to solve problems, to think abstractly, to comprehend ideas, to use language, and to learn. There are 9 different types of intelligence. What we need to do is to combine these types of intelligence, whether emotional intelligence, parallel processing in the right brain, or logical intelligence in the left brain, into the spiritual intelligence, which is the synchronous processing of the whole brain. Our ancestors added the heart and the gut in the milieu of intelligence, and they became the smartest people ever on earth, able to synchronize their creativity without destroying nature, which is not found in today's so-called advanced nations. So let's go back. Has Christianity lowered our intelligence? Do we have the proof for that? We want to invite you to get this book as a sharp, correct scientific procedure, where it is quite clear that ancient African Hamite is the major black classical society existing in African classical period and functioning for African people in the same manner as ancient Greece functions for Europe. Indeed, cultural legacy is so important, so fundamental to the maintenance of civilization, that some groupings have made up their antiquity and have therefore built intellectual and moral houses of cards on shifting sands. So they stole Kemet. Christianity, Islam, and Judaism makes us dumb and dull because it hides our historical information and tricks us through conversion to read only one book and to believe that book and faith without proof. Yet in Hamite, our ancestors engaged in what is known as the magical natural science, which established one of the most advanced civilizations ever to be witnessed and seen on the earth. Billions today ignore this magical natural science, which was actually originated by our melanin dominant ancestors, commonly called Africans. Now, by adopting the fundamentals of that science, you will naturally boost your own intelligence, which will be dumbed down by Christianity, Islam, and Judaism. Here's the proof that Christianity lowers your intelligence. You can see here in Africa, they are breeding more pastors. In China, which is one of the leading nations that developed so fast and rapidly, they are producing more engineers and doctors than pastors. This graph tells you that China is already above the United States in terms of degrees in science, engineering, agriculture, and medicine. PhD. That's what we're talking of. We are talking of PhDs, not graduate degrees, but PhDs. Look at that. So, Christianity has never taught melanin dominant people their history. The reason is that if black people learned their black history like they learn the Bible, the Quran, the Torah, and other books, Africa or melanin dominant human beings would become more powerful, just like our ancestors in Hamit. The most effective way to destroy a people is to deny and to obliterate their own understanding of their own history. Think about that. That's why churches and mosques are prison yards where people's brains are locked for life. How can they believe that? Because they have been caught when they are young, and they are fooled when they are young, and for life they will be trained to adore and worship Europeans. You see, no wonder why we have other black people today praying for Ukraine, where even their brothers are being abused. Even leaders that you thought these are great leaders, they kiss their God. They show you that it's not amazing. They are trained to have more faith than reasoning. So if you don't have any logic, you see, the old mother here, poor lady is instructed to carry the pastor on her back because of faith. One person has been healed of the same disease in many churches by 4 pastors, and the people ululate, dance, and praise Jesus. Our own brothers spray doom, insect killer, as a healing agent, and look, the woman is loving it and is enduring through it. It is because Christianity has trained them to have more faith than reasoning and logic. There it is, trained to have more faith. Faith does not give you the answers. It just stops you asking the questions. The pastor told him to burn a candle and said, as the candle is burning and melting, the problems will be melting. This is stupidity. It will kill a lot of people. It has killed a lot of people. Because you don't have faith. Because you are trained to jump the thinking and the reasoning step. You are trained to have faith, and you cannot even think that there are no graves of the people that you read about in the Bible, in the Torah, and in the Quran. Nothing. They are not even there in the museums. Yet our ancestors who built the greatest civilization are being dug day and night. They have been eaten by others because museums display facts, not fantasy, not fiction, not faith. When you begin to reason and to think, you will be deceived no more. I bet you have never knew something like this. This is the house of Allah, built by angels, Adam and Ibrahim. It was destroyed 20 times and stolen once for 22 years. But the house of life, the house of our ancient kings, who are the enemies of Allah, are thousands and thousands of years older, have never been destroyed, have never been stolen. It is a miracle of our ancient ancestors' thinking. Even if Jesus is black, even if he is white, regardless of the color you paint him, is fake. That comes from logic, from thinking and looking and knowing that the Bible is fake. It is full of contradictions everywhere. Because you lack logic and you cannot think, and your intelligence has been dumped and watered down by Christianity, you will forget that God or your God claims to own all the universe. Because then he demands 10% of your salary every month. You do not know, just like many Christians do not know, that money or the monetary system which we use today to measure prosperity and wealth and riches didn't come from natural sources. It was crafted and created by the Rothschild dynasty. Amschel Bauer Rothschilds is the one who created the monetary system. Money is the God of our time, and the Rothschild is his prophet, said Heinrich Heine. Well, so when you tithe to your pastor, and when your pastor claims to want the tithe of God, he is not knowing what he's saying. Modern money was created by the Rothschilds, not your God. So you don't need to tithe. You don't need to fear anybody, because you know that the money you're talking about didn't come from God. So false preachers and tithe takers are crooks. They deceive the members who starve and give them money. Here is how rich these guys are. Joyce Meyer is 8 million. Rick Warren, 25 million. Joe Austin, 40 million. Kenneth Copeland, 760 million. Multi-millionaires. Not because they work, but because they fish from your pockets. They are crooks. Personal security and being streetwise is what we see here. False faith in display. You can see there. Chosen by God, but protected by guns, by signs. You see that? So much faith in God. They don't trust their God. Here's the Pope with a bulletproof glass and guarded with guns. Another African pastor, founder of a church with an armed guard. Yet these people are told to go to church to get some anointing for protection. Christianity has definitely lowered our intelligence and our intelligent quotient. There it is. Accepting slavery and dehumanization is what has been taught by Christianity, and it is proof that it has damned our understanding. Christian thinking in many millions of people allows them to tolerate this and to say God shall judge. When you see this and you forget your history, this is what they did to us. If you trust your enslaver, if you trust your colonizer, if you trust your dehumanizer, it means your intelligence is very, very low. We have been taught, as we have said in the beginning, to love our enemies, to revere our enslavers. In Ephesians 6:5, slaves, obey your earthly masters with respect and fear and with sincerity of heart, just as you would obey Christ. Whoever crafted this was smart. And these people hate us or hated us. White people have never repented of what they did to us. They've never asked for forgiveness for their brutal mistreatment of black people. If Christianity is a true religion, why aren't white people worried about going to hell for mistreating our own people? Christianity, Islam, and Judaism has turned black people to hate slavery and yet to embrace what is taught in those books. The true reason why they converted Africans into Christianity was not to take them and assist them to go to heaven. There's no heaven. It was to put themselves in black minds so that we continue to believe and worship them. Here is the proof. Kirk Franklin worshiping Billy Graham, kissing him like what we saw that president kissing the Papua representative in Zimbabwe. Worshipping your oppressor is proof of lacking of logic and reasoning and emotional intelligence. It is proof that you have been made dumb and daft. Accepting your enemy to pray for you, to put their hands on your head, to give you literature like Muslims, is proof that you are dumb. You do not think. You can't see that they are putting controls on you. Christianity has made us dumb. Scientific proof is there, plenty of it. A new study addresses whether religiosity is associated with low intelligence. Various studies have found that an average belief in God is associated with lower scores on IQ tests. It is well established that religiosity correlates inversely with intelligence. Note Richard Dawes and Adam Hampshire at Imperial College London in a new paper published in Frontiers in Psychology. You can see national belief in God. The more it is, all countries with very high belief in God have low average IQ. You go to this website and you read about it. Why is it like that? Let's give simple, straightforward reasons that you can take out and take off from this sharing. According to Dawes and Hampshire, these findings provide evidence in support of the hypothesis that the religiosity effect relates to conflict between reasoning and intuition, as opposed to reasoning ability or intelligence more generally. So you jump the reasoning because reasoning involves thinking, and the thinking is one of the most difficult exercises anyone can engage in. People would rather meditate and go into yoga than think. Religious faith is the major culprit. How? Because it requires putting experience or proof on hold and blindly insists that it is righteousness to just believe and forego any verification of information for which there is little or no support outside of the religious community or book. So the battle is between reasoning and intuition. But once you correlate the two and connect these two in a very special way, which we call magical spiritual science, then you explode. Yet faith must be verified first by reasoning and intuition. You cannot imagine to live a life of peace without having proved that the peace you talk about is already there deep inside your heart. All we need is to remove the Bible and use our ancestral or rational scientific thinking processing. So you have to know, you have to engage in doubt and disbelief, and then prove whether your doubts are good or your doubts are not good. Simple and straightforward. Yes, Christianity has made us daft, but how do we recover? Through Afro salvation. Here is one step in Afro salvation. It is knowing that the adoption of Jesus as an African God is the reason Africa is suffering. Just listen to this statement that is crafted here. The worst mistake of ages that we have made. Why would a billion black humans entertain images of a God who looks a lot different from them, and told God created man in his own image, but the skin color is different? Europeans have become gods to Africans. 99% of the inhabitants of Africa are blacks, but they worship a European God. For such submission, our resources are taken away by guile and covetousness and trickeries by people who emphasizes that you should not steal. Our lives are spent fighting poverty, squalor, and dirty, introduced by people that say, love your enemies, do good to everybody. Even black people around the world are consciously unaware of these facts. But once you remove the beliefs of biblical fairy tales, slave syndrome myths, and all of the white society's propaganda of lies from your mind, trance and focus within yourself and your ancestors, you connect to the divinities and to your ancestors. That process will elevate your mind and lead you out of the maze of lies that the white society has created to mentally enslave you. They are waiting for you, your ancestors and the divinities. All you have to do is abandon all of the white society's lies around us. This was by Franklin Jones on the website that we are showing here. Very, very, very critical and very, very important. To find out how you can join and learn more, email us on join@marifado.com for Universal Ubuntu Mahati Spirit, our Afro Salvation, for every conscious melanin dominant human on the earth. Subscribe to our channel, Hamiti Hebrew Ethics. This preacher Rabbi Elem Timizulu Galkadu Kunikenim Jakan Jamskan, saying, yes, all non-Bantu religions, all of them will make melanin dominant human beings dumb, daft, dull, followers instead of leaders, and believers instead of thinkers. There are more proofs we will go into to show that Judaism and Islam has actually lowered melanin dominant humans' intellectual power. Choose today to embrace your ancestral, ancient, magical, spiritual science. Tatenda Siaboga. Thank you. Enkos asante sana. Edupe.